cases mapped to it. That's one of the rules. And when we talk about STLC, and I know we are talking about the RTM. Then what are your rules in as a QA automation and QA analyst? We talk about the rules and responsibilities in our last discussion in the last section. We talked about we creating test cases from that test scenarios. We have multiple test cases mapped to that. So we have your test data, so you use for your testing, or to input into your data to check everything is working fine. You use your test data, one of those things you use. Then proceed your test procedure, environmental setup. These are what we discuss. Also, your test execution involves your executing test cases. Automation script is creation if it's visible, if it is needed, available. You have to do automation of that particular thing you want to test. Okay, going to be one of the rules and responsibility. So bug tracking tool also will be there. Okay, bug tracking means you will log your bug and then you will get it rectified. Then you will test it again. We also talk about bug life cycle when it comes to that. An enhancement, more and more things built will come into the system. You're going to do will come into you in the system so that we'll be doing execution of those particular application coming to the system by enhancement. Okay, and test closure report. When it comes to test closure report, what you're going to be doing is that you'll be doing your test reports, you will be providing the test cycle, test reports, the RTM I told you about, everything will be there, your test closure report. You're going to hand over all these things. Your test manager is going to hand over this thing to your clients. So these are what things we discussed in high level. And then went over talking about the 7 principles of software testing. This is how I have to know which of all these principles. We said that one is testing is context dependent. You have to know what the context of what you are testing. The platform, if you don't know the platform of what you are testing, you don't have it in your plate, you will not be a good tester. You have to know the context of what you're testing. The context of what you are using to test that of e-commerce application is different from that of the banking application. We say testing is context dependent. Okay, so second principle was talking about the exhaustive testing is not possible. You can't be testing everything to go. You can't, exhaustive is infinite. You can't test everything. So you have to do your risk assessment of that particular application. Then you set by your priorities what is needed, and then you execute your test cases and hit the production server. Okay, you can be testing again. We'll talk about early test, which is third principle. Early testing is very, very good. Okay, when I talk about the view model, I'll make a mention about that. Then defect clustering. If you get clustering, what I tell you, 80-20 rule, that 80% of your bug will be found in 20% of the application. So that's what the defect clustering is. Okay, and show you example of that if you go back to the video. I also talk about the pesticide paradox. Okay, the pesticide paradox. Because something what that is, what I mean by pesticide paradox. If you went back to your video, take notes. What I mean by pesticide paradox.
It talks about running the same test cases again and again will not result in the detection of new bugs.
New bugs. So you have to do your revision of your test cases, and you have to change your test level. If you keep on executing same kind of thing, you will stop finding bugs. That's what the pesticide paradox is saying. Resistance with same scenario. You have to resist the same scenario. So you have to change your test data. That's what the pesticide paradox is. These are one of those testing 7 principles of software testing. I also reveal to you that most interview question comes to that. Each and every one should be clear to you. Your interview question, they will ask you what is a context dependent. They just ask you how will you test an e-commerce application. Okay, so they will not tell you what is context dependent. How will you test this e-commerce application? What is the difference between the e-commerce application and that of the banking application? That's where you derive your answer from. What I mean by context dependence. Okay, so all these are what you need to have in mind when answering any interview questions. And also tell you interview questions. They ask you, when do we start testing? Can someone answer that question? I read last section. When do you start testing?
You start testing from the beginning, early testing.
Early testing is good. You derive your answer from that way. You talk about early testing, one of the top principle of software testing when you start doing your view model. The BRS and the SRS documentation and all those stuff, you do that in a static manner. Okay, you catch bugs when looking at the wrong spelling. So early testing is good. Okay. So another question they can ask you in interview is that they can ask you, how do we need to update? Why do we need to update our test cases and our test data on a daily manner? They will not ask you what is pesticide paradox in the interview. So if you keep on using the same test cases, you stop finding bugs. So you have to be resistant to test cases, and then you drive an answer for what we're talking about in pesticide paradox. Okay. So that's what. And then also they will also ask you in next 2 hours, we have production release. Okay. How you do the testing. Okay. So what's going to be your answer?
It's going to be based on certain priority because the time limit is key. So we have to prioritize which one is going to be for the user immediately.
So where you're talking about, you're deriving your answer from where?
You are deriving your answer from, let me see.
Exhaustive testing is not
testing
possible.
is not possible.
Yeah, so you can, since you have those, you have to just prioritize your test cases and then do the risk assessment of it, and then you hit. So nobody or no interviewer gonna ask you what is exhaustive testing. Okay, so you have to have all this about it. 7 principles of software testing gives you a lot of interview questions. Always have to remember the 7 principles of software testing. I told you that last week. Have it in back of your mind before answering any interview questions. So we also talk about the 6th and 7th principle, okay, which is also correlated to each other. Best testing is presence of truth, the presence of defense, analysis of errors in fallacy. Okay. So these are because I'll give you a bug doesn't mean that there's no bug in the system. Okay. So these 6th and 7th principle correlates each other. So always have it in mind when you're doing your this thing. Do anyone have any question regards to what we did last week? If you always take your notes, go to your videos, and you not have any question regards to that. So today we're going to start our discussion is about testing type. Okay. So if I have more time, I don't think we're going to have more time, but I want to shift it to that of next week. We're going to have the testing techniques if you have time to cover that. But at least we'll start with testing type. Okay. If that permits, you can cover that of testing techniques. Okay. So after that, we start with Jira database testing, which will have your SQL, run your SQL queries, and API testing. Okay. All these advanced topics, we start covering them. So from today, you will complete all your basics. Today, you're going to complete all your basics, like how to create test cases. You know that. Most of you did the assignments. Always sit down, your little time, look at the web applications and see how we can create your test cases or test scenarios and map out different test cases to that. Okay. And I will discuss with you about the requirement RTM, requirement traceability matrix. What is bug? You all know what is bug. We'll talk about that. So all those things, we have covered all these things. And we'll talk about what is defect and error. What is error? So what are the testing types? Okay, we're going to treat that today. All these basic questions which are asked in the interview questions. After today's section, it will be clear to all of you. Okay, so we're going to start with testing types. Okay, we're going to start with testing types. So let's start with the testing types today. So we might have been hearing about different type of testing. Most of you are going to YouTube video to see different type of testings, and regression testing and smoke testing, if you have this idea of all those things, we have numerous of them. We have hundreds of different type of testing. But today I map it to be, I term it to be commonly, all right? Commonly testing types, all right? So it's going to be commonly tested type because we have hundreds of them. Scientific testing, monkey testing, reversible testing, adult, we have different testing types, but this is commonly testing types that you do. It's common, right? Regards to others. So there are hundreds of them, but we're going to take this on to different type of testing. Okay. So yeah, I've already summarized this in the chart here. All right. Regression testings, regression, sanity, and smoke. Okay. So yeah, I've tried to summarize it in these charts. You can see the subset where you have in your screen. Basically, a smoke testing is what? It's a subset. Is a subset of sanity testing. Sanity testing is the subset of what? Of regression testing. I know the reason why I made this diagram like this. All right. So in the last class, I talked about creating a test cases. When you're creating test cases, either be it your test cases might be mapped to be that of regression test case, either be it sanity and smooth test case. I want to keep this in regression test case. This one will be for smooth test. This one will be for sanity test case. So, because you are creating your test cases. So where don't you map your test case to be? Should we be onto regression test cases, or should I put it on the smoke test cases? So you're going to understand this today. I want someone to tell me, what do you understand by the word smoke? Smoke. What is smoke? Forget about testing. What is smoke? What is the meaning of smoke?
I mean, the reaction you get when fire occurs, right?
Yes, you actually get when fire comes, right? So
When combustion.
yeah, so smoke is a combustion of airborne particles, right? And gas is emitted when a material undergoes combustion. Okay, yes, correct. So the name smoke, the name smoke testing now, this smoke testing, this name itself came from kind of hardware testing, not actually from software testing, if you look at it that way. Because when I'm trying to illustrate things to you, I'm trying to break it down in layman terms. I don't want you to have a bookish explanation to that. What is smoke testing? Smoke testing is this and that. No, no, no. I want to have the practical scenario of what that is so that you not forget it. That's what we ask you. Forget about testing. Break it down. What is smoke? And so he said when airborne is gas is emitted from airborne combustion or something like that. So a material undergoes a combustion, then smoke occurs. Now that's what smoke testing does not really come from software testing itself. It comes from what they call the hardware, from hardware terms. Actually, it's not from software testing. The word smoke testing came from the hardware testing. So when you are passing gasoline, this is an inlet. Let me see, this is an inlet, like a tube, right? This is an inlet. And this is my what? Outlets. So I'm passing gasoline, all right? I'm passing gasoline through this pipe, through this tube, all right? I'm passing gasoline through this tube. When I pass this gasoline through this tube, it's supposed to come out from this end point, right? I hope I'm communicating.
Yes.
Okay. So when I was passing this gasoline through this tube, and there's a hose. There's a hose. in that tube. There's still holes in this tube. And it says fuel of this gasoline will be coming out from that of this unexpected holes, right?
Yes.
So when you are passing this gasoline through this tube or any kind of fumes, if the smoke comes up from this part of this tube, apart from the entry point or the exit part, are you going to use this thing for testing? This particular tube for testing?
I don't think it will be good for testing.
Okay, not because so we will conclude that the tube is not correct, all right? Because it has holes, in it. We cannot transport gasoline with this tube. From this word came the smoke testing. So smoke testing is basically, this is a butte now, right? This is what a butte before. So smoke testing is basically what they call butte verification, right? Butte verification. What is smoke testing? It's butte verification. Don't have it in your mind. If you heard that smoke testing is butte verification, that is whenever you get any butte, if you still remember when I was telling you about the incremental model. Anyone remember incremental model? We have your built in different phases. You do implementation of it, you do testing of it, you do deployment of it. The second one again, you do the same thing and all those things. So when any build comes to you, there are different builds attached to it. Okay, when I was explaining the incremental model or any kind of model for that matter, when I talk about SDLC, there are builds. Okay, like we have build one, we have different builds, we have build one, build two, to the nth number of numerous builds, all right, coming in. So this is for build one, this will first build, second build, third build, okay? So we'll be getting your software in different builds. Your software will come in different builds to do implementation onto it, to do testing, you do all those things. Remember incremental model, if you go back to when I talk about SDLC, different type of models, okay? So you will be getting your software in different builds. As soon as you get any builds, okay? As soon as you get any builds, first of all, you will do smoke testing to make sure that this build is testable. Just like you went to your store, Walmart, or to buy a television. And I tried to on the television to test it. It's not even turning on. I might go to do it. I won't do any further thing again. Hope you're getting me. I won't check for the contrast, for the picture performance of the television anymore, because I can't even test it. So just say that television is a build to you. That Sony TV is a build to you. You can't use it for testing. It's a build verification. So as soon as you get any build, first of all, you will do smoke testing on your TV to make sure that this build is testable. I hope you are following.
Yeah.
So for all the builds, you coming to you in the software, for all the builds, you'll be doing smoke testing to see if no critical functionality got bugged in the build. So smoke testing is all about testing the build if it's testable or not. You should understand this, that any software going into the market, it has different builds. you see version 2.1, 2.20, 2.012, 2.2.2, you know, that builds. So understand that any software going to the market, it has different builds. So for the testing team, so many builds comes in. Build 1, build 2, build 3, 4, to n number of builds coming in. So for every build, we test if it is testable or not. That kind of testing is known as what? Smoke testing. A smoke testing does not contain more than 5 test cases. More than 5 to 6 test cases, even for the big application. A smoke testing has very less amount of test cases. How many test cases do you want to write on that? It is not testable. You cannot test a bug through smoke testing. That's not possible. It depends what kind of bug you have. If you have a bug in the login page, just like you want to log in that particular application now, like your username and password, that's a very small test case to write. For that, we put it on smoke testing. Depends what kind of bug you have. If you have a bug in the login page only, then that will be covered in the smoke test cases. That's, I can't log into this application. You write your test cases for that. Because you can't even land into that particular homepage of hsbc.com, facebook.com, bankofamerican.com, Facebook, different applications. Okay, so you just carry your test cases from here. So that's why I say smoke test does not cover more than 5 to 6 test cases. Mike, I hope you get it now.
A little bit.
Ask me any question, guys, before we move further. What is smoke testing? Build verification. The word smoke testing came from hardware testing itself, hardware.
Stanley, can you, the build verification, is it like a design? What kind of build verification? How do you know?
That your TV is a build. They already built it, right?
Yeah.
It's a build to you. Your car, the model of your car that just came into the market now is a build. So if you remember incremental model, that's what I always say you should always take notes.
Yeah, I know.
If you remember incremental model, you know, you have, yes, you do your software in bit by bit. Okay, so any bit comes to you, you do implementation, you do deployment, you do testing of it, you do deployment, and so all the stuff like that. So for every build, you'll be doing this to a number of builds. So it's just like build verification. Anything that comes to you, you do, they release, just like release, they release this particular software to the market. Okay, before you release it to a client, you test it. If you remember what I talked about prototyping, prototype.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no prototype. That's what the software, getting the actual software itself. You understand? In bit by bits. So we're getting this software in bit by bit, what I call the incremental model. So if you remember incremental model extensively like that, you understand what I mean by build verification. Okay, so when that build comes to you, you'll be doing smoke testing of it. If this thing is testable or not, is what they call build verification. You went to mall, you went to Sony station, you bought that TV or went to Samsung. How am I going to check if this Samsung is working fine? You have to check it by what? Turning on the TV, and the TV is not turning on. I don't want to do further testing towards this, pertaining this television. I can't even check the contrast. I can't check the picture. I can't check the screen. How is the brightness, all those things, the sharpness of that television? I can't go further because it's not turning on. So similarly, when it comes to your home page too, you have your what? Your login, username. You have your username, and you also have your password. your login screen. So I'll try to log in. I can't log in. So I can take my test case from that. That's why I say smoke tests cannot cover more than 5 to 6 test cases,
Test cases.
even a very big application, because it's just build verification. Because more and more builds are coming in, you just have to test it and see if it's testable or not. It's testable, I'm able to log in my username and pass. Okay, it goes in. But I can't even test it. So it's just to build. A whole HSBC bank site is a very big build application. So different things will come into that system, to that particular application, that particular website. You'll be doing your build verification toward them. That's what smoke testing is. It just build verification, if this particular application is testable or not. I hope this is clear, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if that is clear, then we have another testing type. We have, you can see, let me go back to my, so that's for smoke testing. Then we have a sanity testing. Can someone tell me what is sanity? What's the meaning of sanity?
Something that is, it has common sense. It's
The
normal.
ability to think. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. The ability to think and behave in a normal manner, right? That is said defines what is sanity testing. Forget about that testing, okay? I want you to break it down so you understand it in name and term. What is this sanity before talking about the testing? What is sanity? You understand what smoke is right now. So that sanity behaving normal, right? Okay, fine. So in that sanity, you said sanity is the art of acting in a normal manner. That defines defines what sanity testing is. So in a testing perspective, when you say I'm doing sanity testing, what is the sanity testing all about? Okay. Like, if I take, for example, now your Facebook application, right? We have different modules, like your social media web page, okay? Or Facebook, or TikTok, however, so let's take Facebook for example. So your social media website, we have different modules. We have, what are the modules you have there? What are the modules you have there? What are modules? Before I told this, I want to say this is login page. These are all modules, all right? What are the modules we have on Facebook?
You have your
Let me say, look, you have your home page.
the
You can
home
see
page.
everything. We have your start my friend
Invite a friend.
field. Invite a friend. Yeah, that's the add friend, right?
Yeah.
We have search
Mhm.
functionality in there. So all these things are considered as module what we have on that particular page. Okay. Now, when doing sanity testing now, you have to check all these functionalities are working fine. You will not check everything in detail. You won't go further. You won't go further. You just have to check everything is working fine. You don't do detailed testing of it. You don't go further than that. What I mean is that, like, here, I will search for what? Few friends. Okay? I will search for few friends, like 1 or 2 friends here. I'll search for 1 or 2 friends here. And when I'm able to search it, I will say it's working. This module is working fine. I'll come to add the friends functionality here. I will add some few friends here. And if I'm able to add some few friends, I will say this particular module is working fine. I won't go into detail and do this and do, no, I don't search for few things. Okay, it's working fine. They're my friends. I'll check my friends. This is all my friends I just added. They're all in the list. I won't go further to add the one in the list. They have friends or friends that are in their added to them, added to their own profile. I won't go in detail. Okay, then I will log into, when I log into my homepage, like going to that Facebook account, I'll log into my username and password, then my password, and log into that particular page and see the page I subscribe for. Then I'll say this application is working fine, the module is working fine. I will click on homepage. If I see the new search I subscribe, then I will say yes, the module is working fine. So sanity testing is basically testing all the modules' major functionality. Major functionality is the word here. Major functionality is the word here we're talking about. We are checking the major functionality. You will not check everything. You will not check the critical functionality of all the modules. You will not be doing detailed testing and in detail want to check more. No. That is sanity, that this is working fine. I click on my homepage and see the homepage I subscribe for. Oh, I'm added on Facebook. It's working fine. My friends, they're all added. Add friends are added. I see the list of all the friends. They are search for a few friends. Or I see them. So all these things, you're not doing detail. They are checking the function that everything is working fine. That is sanity testing. Have I communicated?
Yeah.
Do you get it cleared? Sanity testing, smoke testing.
Yeah.
John, do you have any question in regards to that? Who do you have any question? Smoke testing, sanity testing.
No, sir. Oh, no, I don't have any questions, sir.
Right, just want to break in detail so you understand that. So this is most frequently asked interview question. That's how to have in the mind. It's the most frequently asked question. And if I explain to them the way I able to provide for you, that will have a very good view on your interview panel. So it's most frequently asked interview question. What is different between sanity testing and smoke testing? Another thing I want to make you understand is that another misconception in smoke testing is that this smoke testing, okay, people get confused about that. Let me see. Another misconception about is that smoke testing is only performed by this smoke testing is performed by developers. People have that misconception that this smoke testing is only performed by developers. No, it's not true actually. Although they will do the smoke testing before giving you anything to you, they will check if all the critical any critical thing is working fine. So people get misconception about it as in smoke testing, that smoke testing is only performed by developers. When you develop a particular software, it's only they that do the smoke testing to check any critical something if that thing they develop is working fine. No, it's not that true actually. They will also do smoke testing of that particular application before giving anything to you. they will check if all the critical thing is working fine. Those that build the application, the developers, the developing side, before you guys are testing people, okay? The QA. The developer that did that built that Facebook application, that built any application that you have to use for testing, okay? They also do smoke testing of that particular application before giving anything to you. They will check if all the critical thing is working fine or not. They also do that smoke testing of that particular application before giving it to you to also test. You know, like critical thing is working fine, or like if like the website could open or not, all this module is happening, or if it's visible. So this is their own responsibility, but you have to do it as well. Okay, you have to do the smoke testing of that particular application, but the developers also do the smoke testing of that. So it's the responsibility of the developer and the QA member. So the dev and you, the QA, they do smoke testing of that application. Smoke testing is performed by both the developers and the QA members. But that of sanity, this sanity testing, I'll just explain to you now. The sanity testing is only done by who? The QA members. Only the QA member does sanity testing. So that's the differences between these two. Smoke testing, sanity testing. I hope you got that right? All right, we'll go to regression testing. What is regression testing? So you can see from the below diagram, you can say that I did not make this thing just like this for fancy, but I have a reason for doing that. You can see the regression box is very big, very large. There's a huge gap here. It's for a reason. I didn't create it by chance before this class. I have a reason for doing this. So the reason behind that is regression is testing everything in this application. That regression testing is you are testing everything in the application. Now you have builds. We have different builds. So many builds are coming to the market. Can someone tell me what I mean by builds? Everyone don't understand what I mean by builds. I told you guys when I was doing the incremental model. What are builds? I still remember I'll tell about the incremental model there. I tell about builds.
Build is anything I can give to the customer.
Yes, any chunk of code and design which is properly tested, which I can give as an end product. That's what I mean by builds. I hope you guys understand what you mean now when I'm saying using that term builds, right? It's like a small chunk, okay? And it happens in various phases, all right? It happens in various phases. So you can see that the ability to think and behave is in normal manner. That's what science testing, you know about that. So regression testing, what is regression testing? Is testing the whole application. We have builds, like we have a build 1, we have build 2, we have a number of builds coming to the market, okay, coming to the application. So the a number of builds coming to the application. So regression testing is done to cover. The regression testing is done to make sure that all the builds, like in build 2, let me say, for example, You have different builds. I can show you that homepage and that of a SAT. They are all builds. All right. Now we have builds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to n number of builds. N's numerous, meaning they keep on introducing more application, more builds into the application, okay, into the web page. All right. So regression testing is done to make sure that all the build, like that of build 2, we created add friends. Okay. In that of build 2, we created add friend functionality. And then in build 5, maybe this build 5, there's such difference, right? You have homepage here. Remember, I just show you that. Sorry for the sketches. So you see that in build 5, we created such difference functionality. So while testing this module, okay, while testing this module, you also need to make sure that the add friends functionality, this one was introduced today. There's different builds here. We have homepage, we have the friends, we have the notifications and all those stuff like that. There are different builds. Okay. Now today they introduce this one into the system again. So while testing this such different functionality, you have to make sure that this one also is working fine. While testing this module, you also need to make sure that the add friends functionality is working fine. As number of builds is increasing, see, let me show you. For example, you can see this, you see all these things being introduced to your website. Tomorrow, the bank might want to introduce a loan system or credit card. Okay. They want to use the loan system and credit card. Let me. Okay, they introduce this one today. Okay. So tomorrow, they wanted to implement business complete package again into the particular application. They get this one again. And they introduce this one into the application. Okay. So that's what I mean by builds. More and more builds are keep on coming into that particular application. Okay. So you can see your login functionality is here. Maybe the login functionality is here. Your username and password. Okay. So that's what I mean by builds. So, and before this one came into the system, before this came into the system, as another build that's being introduced into our application, we have to make sure that this one that was there before is working fine. That's why I created this particular diagram to be covered everything. That's why I created this diagram to cover everything. That's what I mean by regression testing. So as this one was introduced to the 6th, the search difference functionality was search module functionality was introduced to the system of Facebook application. You have to make sure that this particular one that's been there last week is working fine. So while testing this module, you also need to make sure that all that the add difference functionality is working fine. So as number of builds keep on being introduced to the application, as number of builds is increasing, the regression test cases also increases. You will have less number of regression test cases in build 1 because you don't need to test more. But when this one comes in, you start testing it again, you start running a lot of making sure to test this and this. Make sure that this is working fine. You will have less number of regression test cases in build 1. And in build 2, it will be little higher. In build 3, it will be higher than that in builds. In that of build N, we have this loose number of builds coming in. Loose number of regression test cases will be created because more and more things is coming in. You are testing this, you are making sure this is working fine, you are testing, making sure you're working fine. All those is having your regression test cases will be increasing because you are testing the whole application, testing everything, that everything is working fine. You guys remember last section when I talk about test matrix? Did anyone remember about test matrix? Test reports, test matrix, or test matrix, test reports? You guys get that? We're talking about test matrix. I told you have 2,000 test cases, right? Yeah. 1,950 got executed. So we saw these things. When I talk about test matrix, I mentioned about number of test cases created. It was 2,000. So when n number of builds comes in, all the builds should work fine. Okay? All the builds that come into the application should work fine. Whatever build it was created. So there comes the importance of what? There comes the importance of this. I'm telling you about automation testing. Because in every build, you cannot keep on checking the impacted areas. Like developers will be touching this, and all those things. So, and this build just came into this, into the market, into the application. So you cannot be checking these impacted areas manually. Okay, because that coming in, look at this is 2,000 test cases. Okay, so 2,000 modules built into this application. You are testing, you have only test cases for that. You have created 10,000 cases, 2,000 test cases, and then another build comes into the picture. You can start from build 1,965 and check if it's working fine. You start checking the manually impacted areas again. So that's called the effect, that's called the importance of automation testing. Automation, you don't need manual impacted areas again. Do it manually. You just do what? You just automate it. Using Selenium as automation tool. But the impacted areas like this one that does come in, you can check it manually. Okay, because just introduce, can just do your manual testing of it. Because in every build, you cannot keep on checking the impacted areas. So regression testing is to make sure your new module, all right? Your new modules are not affecting the already existing modules. I hope you're getting it in the application. Because developers, as I said, will be touching the codes everywhere. So regression testing is to make sure the impacted areas is working fine. And that's why the importance of automation testing as well. This is very important. This is a very important term. And you need to, when you ask your interview question, you need to correlate, you need to relate it with automation testing as well. Because as soon as something is coming into the system, you will check new functionality by manual testing. Remember when I asked you the question, how can you do when I talk about the context dependent, right? I talk about the a login page. Today is here, tomorrow is not here anymore. The developer have moved it from here to here. Remember when I asked you that question? It's down right here. Before, it was just the upper part of the screen, but now they brought it a little down here. So in that case, when we do automation testing of that particular application, you do manual testing with the impacted areas. So that's why you need to correlate it, because as soon as something is coming, you will check new functionality by manual testing. But all the new existing functionality, you will be checked by manual testing. It will take a lot of time, okay, if you have to start checking this manually. So that's why you have to run your automation test script on that. So the time that is required to execute 15 test cases will not be same for the time to execute these 2,000 test cases. That's why automation testing becomes very, very important in the current scenario of IT industry. Because things are changing very fast. You cannot keep on checking manual impacts, manual impacted areas. Okay, so we came up with this automation testing, which we check all your impacted areas through regression testing. All these things which are already there in the regression, what you call regression suits. Okay, you put them in your regression suits. All these things which are already there in the regression suite of automation testing, it should also work fine as soon as some build comes into the testing application. I hope you're getting the concept.
Yes.
So you can see what smoke testing is. Smoke testing and regression testing. Smoke testing is executed before any detailed functionality tests are done on the software. Smoke testing is also called build verification test. Sanity testing is a software testing technique which does a quick evaluation of all the words. Quick. You see that quick evaluation of all the quality of the software released to determine the major functionality is working fine or not. So regression testing covers detailed. It covers everything. As you can see in the diagram, it covers everything. All right? That's regression testing. All right? So regression testing covers detailed testing targeting all the affected areas. Okay? After new functionalities are added. I hope you guys understand this. All the impacted areas, you have 1,000, 2,000 of them. Another one is just being introduced into the application. You can't be doing manual testing of it. That came about the automation testing. That's why automation testing is very, very important in the days, these modern days of IT industry. because you run your regression testing through automation testing. So when you answer your question in interview, you have to correlate it with that of regression with automation testing. We do regression testing through automation testing. All right. Automation testing or regression testing is to make sure that everything is covered. Covers detailed testing, targeting all the affected areas after new functionalities are added. And how do you do that? The ones that are being introduced into the system, you can't be doing manual testing of it again. So you do what automation testing of that application. But you should have back in your mind that regression testing is to make sure that everything is covered. That's why I say it's a subset or small testing is a subset of scientific testing. Sciences testing is a subset of verification testing. In last class, we discussed about test cases. We have 2,000 test cases, right? I told about that we have 2,000 test cases. Yes. So in that 2,000 test cases, you can see that the part of my regression test case is going to be like I told about when I discussed about test matrix. I told you we have, for example, we have 2,000 test cases. 2,000 test cases. We have 2,000 test cases. We have 2,000 test cases. Will be part of these 2,000 test cases. Will be part of my regression test suite. What I mean suits package, right? Test suits. All these 2,000 test cases will be part of my regression test suite. But out of that, maybe only 100 of that is going to be sanity. Okay? So, and let me say like 5, maybe under where? Smoke.
Under smoke.
I thought that smoke doesn't require more test cases. So you know how to put your but everything they're in other regression suits. So you need to determine which should be in your scientific test suit, which should be under regression test suit, which should be under smoke test suit. Suit is basically, if you know about this suit is basically nothing but package. Java student. Everyone remember?
Yeah.
Package. Okay.
Yeah.
Just like package for those that are doing Java class. Okay. So suit is nothing but a package. Okay. Put in your suit. It's basically the package that has all the related test case. Like I want to create a package for that particular scientific the sanity suits. Okay. So, and I want to do that of logging functionality and that of a home page, those sorts of few friends and all those. I want to do sanity. You know what sanity testing is? I'm not doing detailed testing of it. Okay. I just want to check if it's working fine. So I can keep them in my sanity text. Smoke test, just want to check if the build verification is working fine. It's going to be under my smoke suit. Okay, but make sure everything is under what regression suits. All these ones, both scientific testing, smoke testing, they are all subset of regression suits. So suit is basically the package that has all the related test case. All your smoke testing will be part of your sanity. All right, all your smoke testing will be part of your sanity. All the sanity will be part of your regression. All right. So it's a subset of all of them all. So you cannot say my scientific testing is working fine. You cannot say my scientific testing is working fine. But my smoke testing is not working fine. That is not a possibility. So You cannot say regression testing is working fine. Regression testing is working fine, but smoke is getting filled. These statements are not allowed. It's not possible. If you say my system is working fine while doing the regression, that means everything, both smoke, both scientific, everything, because it's a package. So builds are coming in rapidly to the testing team. That's why automation testing is very popular these days. Okay, so no one is spending time on regression testing. All the manual testing which happen these days, all of them are the new model that is released for the testing team. So for the imparted areas, for imparted analysis, we are now using automation testing. If the bug is getting fixed, okay, then you do the manual testing to make sure that that bug is working fine. Like that of a login page, okay? You can log in and getting fixed. You can do manual testing of it to show that it's working fine. Just manual testing of it. But for all the imparted areas analysis, you should do what? Automation testing of it. You can have many builds, so many builds coming in into that particular thing. So you have to do your automation testing to run it very fast. Okay. So make sure that it is not failing. Regression testing, smoke test, sanity testing, most commonly as interview questions. I hope you guys get it right now. We just have some few minutes to end the class, but I'll also rush it. So if so fast you have the question, just let me know so that I will quickly explain to you. So look at this diagram very well. Can someone tell me the difference between these two diagrams, white box and black box? What is the difference between these two boxes?
I think the black box is entirely black. It's like a keyboard. While the white box has a reflection of maybe like a light, but some part is white and some part is like gray.
Okay. You can see this. Can you see?
You can see through it.
You can see through it.
Yeah.
But you can see what I'm writing here. Can see what I'm writing here. But here, look at, you can't even see that it's opaque. You can't see it. So the white box, you are able to see everything. But you can even see everything through. Black box, you cannot see anything. You can see even what I'm writing here. You can't even say nothing here. Okay, so that is the basic difference between white box testing and black box testing. In white box testing, you can see through the code, all these f of s, for loops, and all those things. You can see all those things, dy dx, or what people are doing, or whatever it is. You can see public static void main, the static, the code. You can see all those things. It's transparent. You can see through the code. But in black box testing, you cannot. You're able to see anything of the code. So what happened is in white box testing, you will be able to have access to the code. In white box testing, you're able to have access to the code. You'll be able to have access to everything in that particular system. So you'll be basically testing the code. But in black box testing, you'll be checking the functionality. UQA member, what you'll be doing is what? This black box testing. QA generally does black box testing. They don't do this. They don't do white box testing. White box testing is only happens within the development team, the developers. They do the white box testing. They do that to check if the coding standard is followed. or not, to make sure there's no redundancy or leakage in the system, or there's no redundant codes are added to the application, okay, which is slowing down your application performance. So don't do all those things for developers. So whiteboard testing is basically done by what? The person who understand the code, okay? It's done by a person who understand the code. They do the whiteboard testing. And blackboard testing is done by the functional QA member. Functional QA member. They do the blackboard testing. Hope I'm clear. Any question? So you can see blackboard testing is a software testing method in which the internal structure, design, implementation of the item being tested is not known to the world, to the tester. So whiteboard testing is a software testing method in which the internal structure, design, implementation of the item being tested is known to the world, the tester. The tester is what? The developer. That's for whiteboard testing. So whiteboard testing is generally done by what? The developers. They know the if of X, they know the for loops, the starting void, main string, yes, you know all this kind of code they've written there. So they do the whiteboard testing. We have 5 minutes to end the class. Do you have any question before we move on to what we have in the plates? So what we have here is the one that's called the verification and validation. The verification and validation. That's another type of testing we have here. The verification and validation. What is verification? What is validation? So next we're going to start with verification and validation, then we move to testing techniques. I don't want to waste most of the time. My time is up. Have that we also have more 50 more minutes. 150 more minutes. I just want 1 hour for the class. So we're going to start with that of verification and validation, which is a type of testing. Okay, then we'll go to testing techniques. So what do we cover here today? We covered about what is types of testing. We have different numerous types of testing. We have hundreds of them, but I call it to be commonly testing types. Common testing types, either we have regression testing, we have scientific testing, and we have smoke testing. We also have different type of testing, okay, which we're going to cover in previous class, in the coming class, before we go to testing techniques. The smoke testing is a subset of that of scientific testing. Science testing is a subset of regression testing, because regression testing is testing that everything in the application is working fine. Smoke testing is that of testing that is build verification. When build comes to you, you have to do smoke testing of it. And smoke testing doesn't cover more than 5 to 6 test cases, because there is that of login functionality. Once you log into the particular page, and that login page is not working fine, you can't even land into the home page. You can take your test cases from that. It doesn't cover much. So it's build verification. Just like a TV set. You went to the mall to get a TV, Sony TV or Samsung TV, and you try to on it. You can't on. That means you can't do further. You can't go further to test the brightness of the TV. You can't test the sharpness of the TV. You can't test the screen if it's okay. The volume is included if it's okay. You can't do any further testing. So it's just build verification. That's what small testing is. The scientific testing is not doing detail. Okay, you're not doing detailed testing, you're not checking that everything is working normally. That of your Facebook application, you check your home page, you log in, you click on it, and you're able to see the page you subscribe for. You're not doing detailed testing. You search for field preference, notifications, able to notify things on your Facebook or social media application. You can see that everything is working fine. Then you conclude that everything is working fine. So that was scientific testing. But regression testing is to make sure that all these things happening in the application is working fine. Like that of your Chase Bank application, that of your application in we have your everything being introduced into your system, and then all these are all modules. So you have to check that this one was introduced yesterday, and they want to check that the ones that is introduced today does not have minor impacts on these applications, on the one that has been introduced. That is regression testing. And while doing this regression testing, you make sure that everything in this application, everything is working fine. Okay, so it doesn't have a minor impacted areas, it's not affecting the newly introduced impacted areas. Okay, so that's what regression testing is. And blackboard testing is to make sure that the blackboard testing is you don't know what is inside that particular application. The whiteboard testing is that he knows the code. It's mostly done by developers. But blackboard testing is just like someone giving a phone. You can check the phone, right? You can do testing for that phone, but you don't know what is inside of that phone. So he that knows the inside of that phone is the developer. He developed that particular application, that particular phone. But you have to test it, but you can test it, right? So that is just similar to that of blackboard testing. So in next section, class will continue with this testing types of community testing types, and then before moving to testing techniques and do some other interview questions associated to that. So we'll end it for today. Do you have any question? Anyone have any question in regards to this? Or end the class?
Yeah, I will try and call you to ask more for the white box and black box testing.
Okay.
I'll call you tomorrow, probably by God's grace.
All right.
Thank you, bro.
So you have a good weekend, okay?
Thank you, Stan.
All right.